Hello again. Time now for our regular weekly look at the world of computers. Now, the reassuring thud of the morning newspaper landing on the doormat may be a thing of the past in the not-too-distant future, if you see what I mean. More and more papers and magazines are going live on the net. Now, if you're a computer user with access to the net, the chances are you can read your favourite title already. Joining us now is David Hancock, who writes about computers for the Daily Mirror. David, welcome. Your paper is not quite on the net yet, right?
It's not quite on the net, Frank, but it is going on the net tomorrow evening.
Oh, what a strange coincidence.
There you are. Along with The Independent as well, which will be two of the titles from Mirror Group newspapers. We already have the Scottish Daily Record on there.
Right. Now, this is going to possibly lose you your job, but you're going to have to run me through a list and illustrations of some of the papers that are on the net already.
Well, in fact, there are 1,700 publications throughout the world that are available on the net.
How can you find that out?
It is on the net. It's one of the statistics. It's difficult to find out these statistics on the net because it changes all the time. But the Sunday Times and the Times recently went on, and here you see the internet edition of the Sunday Times, which is actually exactly the same as the front page that you would buy if you'd gone out and bought it for £1 on Sunday.
Right, and how soon is this available on a Sunday morning?
This is available at around, well, it's earlier than your newspaper boy would give it to you. It's about 2:30 in the morning. You can usually get an internet copy.
Right, and you can key around and go to the usual points up in the top corners and so on in order to get inside the paper.
You can indeed, and you can get everything you want on that. You can go to the money. You can go to the money part of the section, or
got the lottery result down there.
The lottery numbers, of course, your winning lottery numbers are there.
OK. Now, can you show us some of the other British papers or well-known titles that are doing this kind of thing?
Well, here's...
blank page, but it's filling up quickly.
Here's a blank picture of the
Times.
Now, the Times is exactly the same. Its internet edition is the same as its newspaper edition.
How often do they update the editions, do you know?
They just do one edition a day, I believe, but it is a completely full edition so everything you see in the Times...
Including the crossword?
Including the crossword. So if you just wanted the crossword and you didn't want to bother with the home or foreign news, you could just download the crossword very quickly, print it out on your printer, and you'd be able to do the crossword. Well, if you can do the crossword.
Right, OK. I'm going to have to ask you to speak and press buttons at the same time. And
I know.
Move on to what else you have now.
Now, this is The Guardian and The Observer.
And The Observer
now,
online.
They are not... That's not a complete newspaper. It doesn't do the same as the Times. It doesn't put the whole of the newspaper on, but it may come to that eventually. But it says that it's a jumping-off point and a space where some material from the paper and other projects that The Guardian and The Observer are doing you can get on the net, but it's not actually the full newspaper.
Right, what else? Going down your list of goodies?
What we've got here.
There's 1,700 in all, though. This is
that's newspapers and magazines throughout the world. Remember, you can get everything from Bosnian newspapers, Bulgarian newspapers... And, of course,
is there a directory somewhere showing you all the titles that are on the net?
There is a directory, and I think we have a little one to come to. Here is today's Financial Times, for instance.
Right.
Which shows you all its news stories, and, of course, you can get an update of the share prices in the market and one thing and another.
And I know you've got something at the other end of the spectrum coming up now.
I have indeed.
It just takes a little time to open up the page.
It does, because it's using a lot of graphics, which always take quite some time to come down.
This, by magic, in a moment, is going to translate into...
We hope it says... The big issue, I think.
It never quite works. It's just coming up now, big issue, yeah. And here's a map of Scotland, in fact, yeah. And you can get into, again, pages just by pressing the usual buttons like Next and Back and Glossary and all that kind of thing. And here we are now with the familiar sort of Windows graphics of various pages tiling on each other.
That's right, yes, of the Netscape, which is the browser used for the best-known browser.
Right, well, it's reassuring. It's not just the rich titles that have converted, and the big issue, which relies on pavement subscriptions, has managed to go across already. Just a couple of wider points. Is it worth it to the newspapers to be on the net? Because this must be employing a lot of staff and taking up quite a lot of resources.
Well, newspapers see this as a prestigious thing to do, because people on the internet, you get people from all over the world, so if people want to read the Daily Mirror and they're in Australia, they can read it immediately.
Right, and I, in fact, know somebody in San Francisco can now get the Times 9 hours earlier than she could before, you know, when she had to rely on the normal deliveries.
Yes, indeed. So there's that prestigious point of view.
But it's not making the Times any money.
No, it isn't at the moment. But I think what will happen, and what we will see happening, especially as we go into through the millennium and into the next century, is that subscriptions, you'll be paying a subscription to get your local newspaper on the internet. There will be advertising in the newspaper as well, and that way it will start to make money, because you must see that the internet is the communications tool of the future, and newspapers, or newspaper magnates, are getting in there quickly.
They better adapt or die. David
That's
Hancock, good luck with the Mirror and the Independent on the net.
Thank you very much.
And just before I take you back into the ordinary world from cyberspace, remember, you can get Sky News on the net. If you want to visit the Sky site, the address is as follows. Can I read it? and it's all there, sky.co.uk, and we want your suggestions for what you want to see in this spot. You can now email the Live at 5 team. Quick look at our email address. There it is. Back to you, Kay.
Coming up in just a few moments, the slaughter of the innocents in Dunblane. 16 little people are dead.
Colonial Direct. How can we help you?
0800 828 500. Colonial Direct. Now we're talking.